Okay, so let's start with something simple. You're buying shares of stock. It doesn't matter how many, but what matters that you're buying them from just one firm. So let's say based on historical annual returns and everything you know about the company as of today, you figured out that the following scenarios or states of the economy are possible for next year. With a 33.3% chance, it will be the so-called boom state, in which case you will make a 28% return. With a 33.3% chance, there may also be a normal state of the economy, in which case your return will be 12%. And with the remaining 33.3% chance, the state of the economy will be called recession, and that's when you will lose 7%. Because the three probabilities of the three states of the economy are equal, we call them equally likely states. So let's calculate the expected return and then the risk. And for the expected risk, we will first calculate the variance of the returns and then their standard deviation. To calculate the expected return, we go through all the states of the economy that are given to us. In this problem, we have three: boom, normal, and recession. So for the boom state of the economy, we multiply the probability by the return. You can do it in decimals, for example, although it doesn't really matter. In decimals, you would do 0.333 multiplied by 0.28. Then you add the same product but for the normal state. The probability times the return, 0.333 times 0.12. And then finally, you will add the product for the last state of the economy, the recession. The probability of recession times the return in recession, 0.333 times negative 0.07. The sum of these three products, covering the three states of the economy, gives 0.11, which is an 11% expected return. So you can think of 11% being something like the average return over the next, let's say, 10 years. So over the next 10 years, sometimes you'll be getting a 28% return, sometimes a 12%, sometimes a negative 7%. And they'll be randomly repeating, right, these three numbers over the next 10 years. If you kind of draw a line between these three, returns, kind of the dots jumping up and down, the line will be going through 11%. And the meaning of it will be on average, your return on average. How do we calculate the variance? It's very similar to the expected return formula if you compare them. So for the boom state of the economy, we multiply the probability of the boom, 0.333, by the squared distance from the expected return, 0.28 minus 0.11, the difference squared. And then we add the same product of the probability and the squared distance from the expected 11% return for the remaining two states of the economy, for normal and recession. The resulting variance in decimals is 0.020467. When we take the square root of that, we get the standard deviation of future returns, which is 0.1431 or 14.31%. How can we summarize what we know about this company stock? We can say that if we buy this stock today, then you can say that you expect to make an 11% return every year. It's like saying that on average, your money will be growing by 11% in the future, every year. But you will never actually get 11%, right? Because what you will actually be getting is one of these three given returns, 28% or 12% or minus 7%. So you can then add a second sentence which says, however, the actual return that you will be getting will be, on average, 14.31%, either above or below the 11% expected return. So the standard deviation, 14.31%, shows the magnitude of the fluctuations of the actual returns, how far apart they will be in the future from each other. Well, actually not from, well, kind of from each other, but it's more like average distance from 11%, either above or below. Let's change this problem a little bit. We have the same three scenarios: boom, normal, recession, the same possible returns in each state: 28%, 12%, minus 7%. But this time, the three states of the economy are not equally likely. The boom state will happen with a 10% chance. The normal state of the economy is the most likely scenario. It will happen with a 60% chance or probability. And the recession scenario will happen with the remaining probability, which is 30%. So the three probabilities are given and the returns are given. If you do the math, then the only thing that will be different is what I'm highlighting in the red color, the probabilities. We will no longer have 0.333 for the expected return and for the variance formulas. Now there will be 0.1, 0.6, and 0.3. And that, of course, will affect the results that you will be getting. Now, the expected return will be 7.9%. And the standard deviation will be 10.82%. So we can say that on average, you're expecting to make a 7.9% return on your money every year in the future, but the actual returns you'll be getting will be on average 10.82% away from the 7.9% average in either direction, either above or below 7.9%. You can do the calculations with all the returns and all the probabilities in decimals or in percent. Just pick one and use it throughout your calculations. Stay consistent. For example, if you use your returns in decimals, then your answers will be 0.12 for the expected return and 0.35 for the standard deviation. If you instead used your returns in percent, then the same calculations will instead give you 12% for the expected return and 35% for the standard deviation.